What's up, guys and gals? Welcome back to the Nerd Castle. Today, in the world of indie games, we have a game that I've been waiting a really long time for it to come out. It's called New Cycle, and like normally I would play this game for 5 or 6 hours before I recorded a video, but I'm recording this on January 2nd, and so this is like my first video back after an entire holiday season just filled to the top with boozing. And so anyways, much like all of you, I'm sitting at my desk right now on January 2nd, staring at it, trying to figure out how to reboot the work centers of my brain after, you know, the solid week and a half of revelry that I've been going through and subjecting my liver to. And so we're just gonna like do this one as first impressions this time around. If after watching this you wanted to get the game for yourself, I got a link for you down below in the description. Last minute edit. This game is in early access right now, so if you hear me in the video talk about it not being early access, it is. The Steam page wasn't tagged, but then I got an email that confirmed it is. So let's slide on into this Banished-style post-apocalyptic colony builder and see if it's a good fit for you. On top of the link that you'll find down below in the description, you can also find a link to my Discord and my Twitch stream, just in case you wanted to hang out live. But let's go ahead and jump on into a new game. So the difference is here from the last time I played the game is that the last time we played the game, I think there was just like a sandbox, and that was it, and it was the first couple hours. Now they have a number of different gameplay types. They have sandbox mode, they have campaign mode, they have sanity mode, and then they've got old ways mode, which I don't think is actually in this demo just yet. It doesn't undulate or anything when I mouse over the top of it, so modern UI design would kind of imply that that doesn't, but this appears to be like a tower defense mode or something, which is kind of interesting. Let's just dive into the campaign for right now. We'll see what I think most people are probably going to start with campaign. They're probably going to start with Meadow, and so we'll go ahead and do the representative experience that I think most people are going to go through. Very impressive soundtrack so far. I'm liking that mournful violin that they've got going on in the background. So here we are. This is our little village. We've got a message from our community. It was just asking if I wanted a tutorial while I run my way through the game. Now then, I don't think I'm going to need a tutorial, but we will put the game on very, very slow speed for right now. And let's kind of go through the UI. So at the top of the screen, it looks like we've got a number of different resources we're going to have to play around with. I distinctly remember that there was social classes when I played through this game last time. So you've got like peasants, you've got like engineers, which are the skilled middle class labor, and then you've got the aristocracy in this game. And everything that you do is going to affect one of those groups differently from others. This is one of those games that's going to be drawing reasonably heavy from something like Frostpunk, where you got a city builder, sure, but your actions have consequences. So it looks like we're probably going to need to start out by getting our basic needs met. We have no resources coming on in, so we're probably going to want to find a way to replenish those first. We've got a field camp right here. This is going to allow us to gather all kinds of goodies from all over the place. Taking a look around, I'm trying to figure out if there's like a good, better, bad type of place for it. I think we're going to want the stone. And to me, it sort of looks like right here is the way to go. Unfortunately, we don't have the bog standard indicators. So this is one of those things with city builders that I'm always harping on. I feel a little moderate bit guilty about it. But at the end of the day, in a city builder like this, so now that we've got that laid down, we also want to start looking into food resources. And it looks like we've got meat and mushrooms out here. What more does a man require? I love meat and mushrooms. That's probably like two of my favorite combo items right there. Let's go ahead and get these things built. And as you can see, our little workers are going to skip to Maloo. As these buildings get done, they are going to require that we have workers assigned to them. We have plenty of workers for right now. You can see them indicated up here. We have 29 out of 35 idle right now, so I'm just going to throw the full amount on in there. And if it turns out that we run out of any of these resources, I will go ahead and just kind of reassign them to other tasks. Inside these panels, it looks like we do have access to all the bare bones basic functions. We've got tutorializations and encyclopedia. We've got pausing and resuming production, things of that nature, all the stuff that you would expect to see. Let's go ahead and throw together that over there, and then residences. Yeah. So the residence is going to require 15 electricity while it is active. Okay, it also requires something called the oath. So let's see if we can dig up the research here. So here we are. We have our research menu on this side. It looks like it's going to cost us some amount of planks or possibly boards in order to get some of this stuff done, and I see a lumber mill and a well indicated right there. So let's get after those first. We'll go ahead and put the lumber mill. I figure the lumber mill should probably be somewhere near the central location of our base, right? I don't know if these roads are actively affecting the speed at which people move around, but why take a chance with it? We also have the well over here. Draws clean water from underground sources. Okay. Ah. We have them over here. Gotcha. Okay. Well, let's just put it in the midst of two water spots, I guess, and I suppose that'll be the foundation of our spring network right there. We'll have to figure out how the entire water system works fairly shortly, but I think we are on our way. Okay, so with all three of the buildings built that I wanted to have built, it looks like we are ready to go. However, a number of these buildings are talking about not having roads attached to them. So I guess that road right there doesn't count. We're going to have to figure out how to build a good road network around here. Oh, yeah, some of them require access to a logistical chain. All right, we'll figure it out. We've got 5 workers that we can throw in over there. I don't know if the building's going to work independent of me having roads in there. However, we do have an old dusty road on this side. Dusty road, take me home. It looks to me like they are actively still doing the task, so we can't build roads yet, but it also doesn't seem to me like the buildings are actively beholden on being attached to a road. So it's odd that they're calling it out. Maybe they get some kind of logistical chain bonus for being on a road. Difficult to say from the context of where we're sitting right now, but I'll go ahead and I'll run a road down that way. There you go. You've got your first, most dustiest road. Are you happy now? It is pleased. It doesn't look like production went up at all. It's still producing like +3s. Maybe it's spitting them out at a slightly faster clip. Difficult to say. We've got 21 wood right now, though, so let's go ahead and get the road networks all laid out, and then I'll get back to you once I'm done. So we kind of have this road just running through the middle of everything right now. It's not crazy organized with the way that we're currently living, but I do have the mushroom gatherers up and running, so that should be good for us. I think now would probably be the time that we want to fast forward and we want to start taking a look at technologies that we can bang out, because I think we've hit just about the max cap of what we have available. So with a little bit of research in my greasy fist, it looks like we can have houses, and it looks like we can have food. You know, when push comes to shove, I think I would rather have food than a house. I'll be honest with you, you could kind of huddle close to a fire with a full stomach, and that's okay for maintaining morale. I've spent a lot of time in the backwoods, sleeping rough in the middle of nowhere, you know, just a bedroll, a campfire, and a sleeping bag or whatever, but with a full ice chest, and that's fine. I can live with that for a little. I don't want to do it for more than a few months, but I can do it for a little while. You know what I mean? But like, not having food seems like one of those things that, like, I know for a fact I can't go more than 30 days without food before I expire and die, and so that would be the difference there. All right, so we have our stockpile and soup kitchen. Let's go ahead and see what we can do with that. So this is going to take simple meals and fair meals. The downside is it looks like we need a couple more lumber for that to be actively working. So zoop, turn that on right there. All right, now we have enough. I'll probably try to place this a little bit closer to where people live at. So you've got that dropped in right there. I'm pretty sure people just got cranky anyways at the beginning of the morning because they didn't have houses or something. But we've got to wait for 300 and 400 research before we can actually give them a house. Hey, look, this guy's got a little hand cart. I don't know where he got that from, but nobody else has a hand cart. My man's living high on the hog right now. My man got himself a cart. Everybody else in town is carrying stuff around in their hands like a bear or like a goober. Instead, this guy, he's invented the wheel. He's a jet setter, man. He's changing up the game. We've got enough research right now to where I can bang out oaths. So let's go ahead and do that because it's 30 hours for us to learn how to build like a basic condominium complex so that these people can finally be happy and stop complaining at me. It's been real complainy around here lately, all right? I'm not going to sugarcoat it. The complaininess needs to stop. I like how the road builds like the only way it could be better is if it played like a little sound effect while it puts down the road too, like the one that I just made with my mouthpiece unit. Let's go ahead and we will build a couple of shacks. How many people live up inside this thing? 10 people live inside this thing. All right. We'll go ahead and put that right there. We'll go ahead and slap another one down, probably right there. And with that, we are out of boards for the moment. We have an event that popped on up. A group of travelers. The more our settlement grows, the more attention we get from passers-by and the more people that will be willing to join us, both more frequently and in larger groups. This group of wanderers, each less fortunate than us, awaits permission to join our ranks. It's only 2 guys. Yeah, we could fit 2 more guys in. That doesn't even... We needed 4 houses anyways. So that doesn't even shift the amount of house we need. We good. Got our first weather system, too. It's officially raining for the first time in our entire career as Overseer. I don't know if it's actually going to be filling anything up here. I need 875 to go into the Iron Age. Cool. We will do that shortly. For now, I'm going to focus on getting everybody a little bit less cranky by providing them with houses. It's a little bit of a bummer that every single house model looks identical. I don't know if I complained about this the last time I checked this game out, but every house model should not be identical. There should be little variances. So what I very much like with stuff like this is where the houses themselves are procedural, made out of little procedural pieces. So like chimneys can be in different spots, that barrel can be in different spots, this awning can be in different spots, that awning can be in different spots. Helps break apart the monotony of the buildings. I don't like it when games have stamped out city building where everything looks identical. Someone one time raised the argument after I said that in a video that they prefer it be uniform because it's easier for them to district things and figure out what they're looking for at any given moment. But I always favor immersion far more than anything else like that. Human beings have a tremendous capacity for taking a place and turning it into like a home, a location that is personalized to them. Like even for me, since I moved into my current place, we've done all kinds of stuff. You know, the backyard was an entire mud pit. Now it's a giant garden that's full of hummingbirds and bees and everything else. We're growing our own food back there. I've messed with my office where I record these videos 2 or 3 times now with regards to the layout. Human beings, we dig in. We get settled. And then we have a big proclivity for kind of like terraforming the spot that we're on. I kind of dig the way they look, though, when you arrange them like this right here. Maybe I'll keep that pattern going so that it looks kind of like a cross or something. I don't know. That has like a nice clumped feel to it. I like the way that feels a little bit better. The harsh winter is pounding down upon us. I cannot research the next age because I require 3 more humans. Thus I will sit here and verily freeze until that day cometh. So I'm not going to lie to you, kind of waiting for the next phase of the game to happen. It's been about 50 days of me just kind of letting the game run. I've built every building that currently exists inside of my area, and I'm just kind of waiting for more villagers to come on in so that I can go up to the next tier, but they don't ever seem to come. It keeps saying people are having babies or whatnot, but in my opinion, this intro portion of the game, before you get up to tier 2, just kind of drags its feet way too long. And of course, because God is not without a sense of humor, the immigrants that I just got after waiting for probably a good 10 minutes on maximum speed for immigrants, they leave me 1 below the amount that I need to go up to the next tier. Aha! I don't know. I just got like 10 more villagers. I don't know why I just got 10 more villagers. Oh, apparently 9 children became adults as workers. So there you go. Now we're good. Now we can take like this bad boy over here and we can, there we go. We can go up to the next phase, right? Hey, I think we've entered a new cycle. All right, we're officially inside the Iron Age. I've been sitting here for probably like 13 minutes, I guess. Just leaving the game running because you've run out of buildings. There's a pacing issue there. So a cycle should only last about as precisely as long as it takes in order for you to build everything inside of there and still have activities to do. Unfortunately, cycle 1 seems to drag on and just take forever to move over to cycle 2. But now that we're in cycle 2, we can start playing around with things. I've got plenty of research, so we shouldn't have to worry about too much there. I've got massive stockpiles at the moment, so we can build ourselves a tavern, we can build ourselves hunting, we've got metalworking techniques. That's probably the best place to start out is with metalworking. So let's go ahead and knock out metalworking real fast. That's going to eat up not that much, actually, in terms of what we have to give. But it should allow us to fold in a new industry that'll allow us to basically knock out cycle 2 pretty quickly. Thus far, I have only edited out dead space in this video. There have been no events. Nothing else has been happening. Let's see here. Life and regulation. Our transition to settled life will bring with it dozens of issues that need to be resolved. Rules and regulations are required to keep everything in order and running smoothly. As our leader, it'll be up to you to make the final decision. Weigh the demands well and choose wisely. Okay. Let's see here. We almost have our daily lives in order. We have secure housing, food to eat, and duties to fulfill. We come to believe that we're now entitled to freedoms. We'll continue. That's dangerous. Listen, put your blindfold on. That's dangerous talk, all right? We'll continue to comply with our assigned work schedules and perform duties. However, anybody that doesn't want to get up in the morning and go to work should be able to buy some extra rest by selling his share of food or some other supply. You should allow us to barter amongst ourselves. Surely you will give us that much. I mean, I suppose if it is your property rightfully gained through labor, then you can do what you like with it. I mean, I am a big believer in property rights. So, sure, why not? Throw it at him. My guys are now allowed to barter and trade between one another like we live in a chicken bazaar. We've got ourselves a forge, a smith, and an iron ingot, and the ability to gather iron ore. And I assume that probably unlocked from the gathering camp over here. It did, indeedly doodly. All right, so that's easy peasy. That's one baseline level of the supply chain knocked out. Next, we're going to want to put in a forge that's going to make iron ingots. So we'll probably put the forge right by the stockpile so that it has easy access to the things that it needs in order to do its job. And then we'll probably do the exact same thing with this guy right here. It's going to be a little bit lumpy and lopsided, though. Maybe I should find a different spot for it. I'll find a different spot for it. Let's not stress. I feel like that kind of works right there. But that also works. That looks good to me, because then we can run two roads on the opposite side of it, and it'll have like a nice little logistical look to it. What do we have going on over here? Chief, since we can now process metals, you can give us the means to make tools of our own so that we can see to our daily task. We can work without tools too, but it makes us tired physically and mentally. And the more off we have to work without tools, the more likely we have mistakes and accidents. Okay, yeah, let's do it. I mean, by all means, let's boot this thing. Let's go ahead and get a couple guys working in the smelter. That's what my great-granddad did. He was a worker at a copper smelter. Before that, he was a copper miner. Lots of copper-related industry guys in my family. Not anymore. We all work in construction now. Well, we transitioned, but we have an urgent matter, apparently, that I need to resolve. Our unstable living standards are about to consume us. We should strive to keep a close eye on people's morale. If we don't maintain balance, there's nothing we can do but watch our home disintegrate. We need to find a way to improve morale within a few days. I do like that we have a full 3D camera here that we can play around with and swing. I hate it when games don't let me swing the camera vertically, like they don't let me pitch the camera. They only let you slide it around and zoom in and zoom out from a fixed perspective. Don't like that anymore. As I've aged into gaming, I really like having a camera that I can swivel around and like get down to like ground level and look at my little guys while they hang out. I do like that there's little muted sound effects and stuff too that you don't hear unless you're actively down next to the building. Like you can hear them making tools and stuff inside of there, but only when you're zoomed in on it. Let's go ahead and make our road right there. Go ahead and slam out a road right there. Just keep it running out towards the periphery of town. What's wrong with you guys? Not enough resources. Oh. Are we no longer shroomed out? Oh yeah, you guys ate all the shrooms, huh? That's fair. I mean, we have so many meals, though. Is it really that big of a problem? All right, tavern's better to go. Let's get that going real fast, because I think that's an easy build for an easy win. And, like, if we just slap that down, let's say right there, we can still continue to kind of, like, build houses around it and make it happen while still satisfying people. We do have an event that I need to resolve, too, over here. Better shelters. What do you want? Every one of us needs a proper place to live. We have food and water, but sleeping at whatever nooks we find aren't helping prepare us for the next day's labor. We need shelters that can protect us from unpredictable weather. I have already done that, sir. Oh, you want me to build 3 new ones? It doesn't matter that I have more than enough housing for everyone in my town. They want me to build 3 useless houses that no one's ever going to use. Completely pointless houses. Just for what I can't even honestly tell you. Just for no reason whatsoever. All right, fair enough. I will build 3 houses that I don't really need. Objectives like that don't grandfather in. Like, so I don't see the issue here. Oh, our power grid is tapped out too. That's fun. Well, hopefully the shacks still count. As long as the shacks still count, we should be good. All right, so we get the result. 3 shacks have been built. And it looks like I didn't even really get anything for it. A new cycle, eh? What? We're in the cycle 3 already? Okay, now we're cooking with fire. Now we're moving and making stuff happen. That's what I like to see. I think we're probably going to need another smelter. But before we get too wild and crazy, let's go ahead and work on the power grid real fast. All right, power grid's underway, so we should be able to generate more electricity very shortly because our power draw is pretty bad right now. The game does seem to have a fairly accomplished and well put together set of regressions the player can look at for just about everything you have in the game, which is good because I'm the kind of person that likes to stat plan my inputs and my outputs, so you love to see that right there. A lot of games, surprisingly, release without that available, and every single time it vexes me because it seems like the kind of people that play games like these, you know, this, Banished, Farthest Frontier, Frostpunk, all these kinds of games, we all tend to have in common that we really like to stat track things and keep an eye on things and know where we're going and where we're coming from. Looks like we're in a severe drought right now, too, which is not so great. Every time it rains, this little meter goes up so that you can predict how much your aquifers are going to refill up by the next year. And it looks like they have kind of like a replenishment rate that's set through these 2 little icons right here. We'll have to keep an eye on it as we go into the next year. But we are going through our water pretty quickly. The good news is our stockpiles are looking great right now, so it shouldn't be that large and nasty of a deal. And we now have our electricity as well. So let's go ahead and play around with that. I'm assuming that that's in the utilities menu. All right. Looks like we have solid wind right there. It also looks like we more than likely have solid wind right here. So we'll go ahead and plop those 2 in, and we'll see how it affects the power grid. Might be okay, might not be okay. Let's see how she rolls. Looks like each one is actually largely beneficial to our society. So it's about 60 power if you get it inside a sweet spot where you've got some actual good thermal flows or whatever. So that should buy us a little bit of breathing room to get a second, because we're not getting rid of our iron ore as fast as we're producing tools. I think we are going to require a second forge right there. We can always enable and disable things manually if it turns out that we're overproducing. Or we can add another labor camp over here. We'll see. I like how the music right now, the soundtrack is actually what's been standing out quite a lot as we've been playing through the game. Whoever did the soundtrack for this game really delivered. Like, they came in maximum strength, trying to channel kind of that Hans Zimmer energy, I guess. Hey, and looky there, we got our production exactly. It's almost like it was designed that way. We've got our production perfectly evened out. We've completed our tools, so hopefully that'll boost up everybody's morale. It looks like we just got a bunch of children grew up. Yeah, I was going to say either children or immigrants just grew up. How am I looking on housing right now? It looks like they just moved into the new area that the game made me build earlier, so that's fine. Foreboding whispers, eh? Chief, we know we're in no place to make excessive demands, but this is a fundamental issue. Community health is deteriorating. We may start losing our fellows soon. Lack of care, malnutrition, hygiene problems, and harsh seasons. We don't have to remind you of the factors at play. Working long shifts in scorching hot weather, dehydration, and the weather affect us all that much more. Likewise, working out in the cold without proper clothing is hazardous. If we force tired and under-equipped people to work long shifts, we should expect the number of fatal accidents to increase. Ultimately, our success in all we do depends on health and resilience. Take the right steps, achieve regular health, and maintain it for 30 days. Okay. So we want worker health above 40 for right now. We're at 39, so we're kind of inching closer, but we're not quite there yet. Oh, it did. It refilled a little bit. Nice. It was down to like 1,100 last time. Looks like the shooms came back as well. And then we should also now have hunters for meat and for hides too, which I think is probably going to tie into a clothing industry or something of the kind. I should probably keep... Ooh, we've got cultivation. We can actually plant crops and whatnot. Just need more tools is what it's looking like for me. Lots and lots more tools. Unfortunately, we have a fundamental problem with our tools. That's right. Everybody look down and check. Everybody's having a problem with their tool right now. We're not producing as many as we need. So we're going to have to get on top of that. I think that expansion is really necessary here. We can probably add another Smith's District right there very quickly. And then from that side, I may need more gathering camps as well, specifically just to target. So, like, we're good on wood, I think. So technically, I could probably drop woodworkers down a little bit. I could probably drop stoneworkers down a little bit too, just to reclaim something. But with our field camp, we're going to need more iron grabbers. So I may momentarily suggest that we just kind of like deploy another one over there. I don't really see any other way around it. As it turns out, there is something I can do about my workers' health. I just got to go to this tab over here, and it appears to me as though I've been leaving these people in, like, poverty rations and, like, poverty water. And so I think we should probably go through and maybe just kind of, like, work on that. You know what I mean? Like, I think that'll patch us up nice and good. Oh, never mind. Tools just swapped around. So it looks like the amount of manual workers you have inside gathering camps determine the sheer volume of tools that are being consumed, because in taking that down a little bit, it actually worked out okay. So let's go ahead and get the iron going over here. Iron is all that I really care about. I need this production to go up through the roof. That should put us up to 72 production, which I think should get us to the point where we're now consistently producing enough tools to knock out research. And so that does look like it got us across the finish line. And it looks like we need vocational training first, because that allows us to produce paper from what I'm seeing here. And it looks like going forward, everything is going to require paper. So let's go ahead and knock that guy out first and take care of it. Impressions of the game right here at the beginning, having played the first hour or so on triple speed. It's not doing anything too wild and crazy to buck the established trend that I think was set out by Frostpunk 5 or 6 years ago when it first came out. From what I've seen so far, it seems to be a centrally planned Banish-style game that has all the bumps and hooks and knobs and all those little things in there to make for a satisfying gameplay experience. That's probably a lot to extrapolate from the first hour of gameplay. But that having been said, from what I've seen so far, we've had no technical issues, we've had no bugs, we've had no major problems. There's minor pacing things that I ran into, like having to sit for 10, 13 minutes before the next age started, just with the game on fast forward, watching Cobra Kai on a side monitor. But then from there, there's other little presentational things, like the buildings don't get diversification. So every single, foundry looks the same as every other foundry. Every single house looks the same as other houses. That's not particularly a problem. So I don't think the game has quite hooked me yet, but I can see the promise there. So I'll probably, with this one, I'll probably put it on the shelf for a little while and just kind of keep an eye on it as it develops throughout its early access journey. I think that Frostpunk had a much more punchy grab for the player in the beginning. I'm like waiting for that to happen here. But if you want to play a competent city builder, it seems like one so far. My name is Splattercat. I sift through the pile to find what's worthwhile in the world of indie games every single day so that you don't have to. Today we were doing first impressions, not a full review. I keep noticing people on the internet being like, Splattercat's a reviewer. No, I'm not. No, I'm not. A review means I beat the whole game, probably multiple times, and I wrote a script. And I went through it with some kind of qualitative appraisal that requires some kind of acumen or degree on critique. I don't have any of that. Just first impressions, guys. Played a lot of video games since the 80s. So this is the first impressions video. I'll see y'all tomorrow with something hot and fresh off the indie skillet. But take care, folks. I'll be back then.